They told you it was just a dream, didn't they? They whispered that your visions were nothing but fantasy, the wandering of a restless mind in the quiet of the night. But deep down, something inside you knew the truth. That dream was not random. That dream was not ordinary. That dream was God speaking directly to you, showing you glimpses of a future others cannot see. And the reason is simple. You are not like everyone else. You are chosen. For years, you have carried a weight inside you that others could not understand. The pain of betrayal, the sting of rejection, the confusion of walking through life knowing you don't fit into the mold the world tried to place you in. You've walked into rooms and felt unseen, unheard, unrecognized for the light you carry. And yet, when the silence of the night comes, when your soul is laid bare before the heavens, the visions arrive. Pictures of a future not yet born, flashes of what is coming, whispers of destiny planted within your spirit. These are not accidents, they are assignments. The world has tried to convince you that you are average, that your story is ordinary, but chosen ones have never been called to live ordinary lives. That is why you have endured storms that would have destroyed others. That is why you have walked through seasons where people abandoned you, where friends became enemies, where the ones you trusted revealed their true colors. Those betrayals cut deep, didn't they? But even as the tears fell, even as your heart broke, you felt something unexplainable keeping you alive. It was God's hand over you, a shield placed around your destiny. Because the truth is this: the pain was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to awaken you. When you think back on the hardest nights of your life, the nights when you prayed and begged for answers, do you remember how the dream came right after? When everyone else thought you were defeated, God was already speaking victory into your spirit. He was giving you visions of what is to come because He needed you to hold on to hope even when reality tried to suffocate it. Chosen ones are given glimpses of the future not as entertainment, but as evidence. Evidence that even when everything seems dark, light is still on its way. That's why your dreams feel so real. That's why you wake up sometimes with your heart pounding, as if you've already lived what you saw, because in a way, you have. Your spirit traveled ahead of time, touched the reality God has prepared for you, and brought back a fragment of it into your present moment. This is why others cannot understand you. They live only in what their eyes can see. You live in both what is and what is yet to come. And that gift, it separates you. The separation has not been easy. You've asked yourself, why me? Why do I feel everything so deeply? Why do I see things that others miss? Why can't I just live a normal life? But the answer is clear. Because your calling is higher. Because your path is narrower. Because you have been entrusted with more than the average soul could carry. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it isolates. But chosen ones are never built in comfort. They are refined in fire. And every fiery trial you've faced has been preparing you for the role you are stepping into now. Think of the dreams you've had that later came true, those small confirmations, those moments when reality finally aligned with what you saw long ago. Did it not take your breath away? Did it not remind you that you are connected to something far greater than yourself? This is the signature of God over your life. Others call it coincidence. You know better. There are no coincidences for the chosen. Every moment is orchestrated, every vision is a message, every dream is a thread in the divine pattern being woven around you. And yet, because of this gift, you have been misunderstood. People have laughed at your faith. They've dismissed your visions. They've treated your calling as madness, your sensitivity as weakness. They tried to box you in, to silence you, to keep you small. But they didn't realize something. What they mocked in you was the very sign of your anointing. What they tried to bury was a seed destined to break the ground. What they thought would silence you only sharpened your spirit. You see, the enemy has always known who you are. That's why the attacks were so fierce. That's why you faced betrayal from those closest to you. That's why doors slammed in your face, why opportunities slipped through your fingers, why people whispered lies about you in secret. It wasn't because you were weak, it was because you were dangerous. Dangerous to the darkness, dangerous to every force that tried to stop God's plan from manifesting in your life. They attacked you because they knew if you ever rose, if you ever stepped fully into your destiny, nothing would be able to stop you. And this is why God gave you the dreams, to remind you, in the middle of the storm, of the destiny that cannot be destroyed, to remind you that what He has spoken over your life will come to pass, no matter who tries to delay it, to remind you that you are not forgotten, not abandoned, not forsaken. You are marked, chosen, protected, guided. Right now, as you listen, something within you knows this is true. You can feel the resonance in your spirit because you remember those moments when the world doubted you, when your own heart doubted you, but the dream still came, the vision still appeared, and though you couldn't explain it to anyone else, you knew it was God saying, "Hold on, what you see now is temporary, what I've shown you is eternal." Chosen one, the future has already been written, and it carries your name. The dreams are not random, they are the blueprint. They are the previews of the victories, the breakthroughs, the revelations that are about to unfold in your life. And even though you've walked through fire, even though you've been misunderstood, even though you've carried wounds that others cannot see, you are still here, still breathing, still chosen, still destined to fulfill the vision you've already glimpsed in the night. And if you've been doubting, if you've been second-guessing your worth, let this be your confirmation. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things. You are aligned with the divine. You were shown dreams of the future because God needed you to believe before anyone else could. He needed you to carry the light before others could see it. He needed you to walk in faith when the ground beneath you was shaking. Because when the time comes, and it is coming soon, the world will finally see what you have known all along. You've been through battles most people could never imagine. Battles that were not always visible to the eye, but were fierce enough to leave scars on your soul. You've walked through nights when your mind became a battlefield, when doubt and fear tried to drown out the whispers of God. You've fought enemies who never revealed their faces, yet you felt their shadows pressing against your spirit, and still, you did not collapse. Still, you rose from the ashes of every attack. That is the sign of a chosen one. Not that you were spared from war, but that you survived it when others would have perished. Think about the countless times you stood on the edge of giving up. The nights when the weight of betrayal broke your heart into pieces, when the voices of your enemies laughed behind closed doors, when you thought your life had been reduced to ruins. In those moments, the fire was hottest. But even in the fire, something unexplainable held you together. The same fire that was meant to consume you instead refined you. It burned away illusions, stripped off false attachments, revealed who was for you and who was against you. The furnace did not destroy you, it purified you. And that purification was necessary because God was preparing to elevate you to a level where impurities could not survive. Look back at the trials you faced, and you will see how every single one carried hidden purpose. The betrayals exposed who never deserved your trust. The losses taught you how to detach from what was never meant to last. The loneliness pushed you closer to God. The rejection redirected you toward the path of destiny. Every arrow that was shot at you was turned into a stepping stone beneath your feet. Every weapon formed against you was broken before it could strike your spirit. That is why you are still here. Because the truth is, nothing could kill what God has chosen. Your adversaries never realized what they were truly fighting against. They thought they were coming against you as a person. But what they didn't know was that they were waging war against divine purpose. They were not just attacking you, they were attacking the assignment of heaven on your life. And no one wins that battle. No one overthrows the will of God. That is why their schemes failed. That is why their gossip carried no lasting weight. That is why their envy, no matter how poisonous, could not stop you from breathing, from rising, from becoming. You are chosen, and chosen ones cannot be destroyed by human hands. And now everything they tried to bury is rising. You are walking into the season where the very people who once mocked you will stand in awe of you, because chosen ones are not hidden forever. For a time you may have been invisible, overlooked, underestimated, but God was building you in the shadows. He was training your spirit in silence, and now the silence is breaking. Your enemies can sense it, that trembling in their bones, that uneasiness when your name crosses their minds. They know what is coming even before you see it clearly. They know that the one they counted out, the one they tried to break, the one they thought would never rise, is about to stand taller than ever. You might wonder why the warfare was so relentless, why the attacks came from every side. It is because the greater the calling, the greater the opposition. The higher the mountain, the fiercer the winds. You carry a light that threatens the darkness, and darkness has been trembling from the moment you entered this world. That is why you never fit in. That is why you always felt different. That is why jealousy followed you even when you had little, because the enemy saw the crown over your head long before you did. But hear this, God saw it too. And unlike the enemy, God did not come to destroy. He came to confirm. Every tear you shed, He collected. Every prayer you whispered, He heard. Every injustice you suffered, He recorded. Nothing has gone unseen. And now the time has come for Him to show the world what He already knows about you, that you are chosen, favored, and set apart. The very people who celebrated your struggles will have to watch your elevation. The ones who spread lies about you will have to witness the truth shine through. The ones who wished for your downfall will have to face the reality that your destiny is unstoppable. You are not rising by your own strength. You are rising by divine decree. That is why you do not need to prove yourself to anyone. That is why you do not need to fight back with the weapons of this world. Your vindication will come from the one who called you. And as you rise, the dreams you've been given will start to unfold before your very eyes. You will recognize the places you once saw in visions, the faces you once glimpsed in dreams, the victories that once felt too far away. They are not distant anymore. They are approaching. God showed them to you early so that you would not lose faith in the waiting. And now the waiting is almost over. You are stepping into the season of manifestation. Your spirit already knows this. That's why you've felt the stirring lately, the sense that something bigger is on the horizon. You can feel the shift in the atmosphere, the breaking of old cycles, the closing of old wounds. This is not imagination, it is confirmation. The chosen always feel the move of God before it becomes visible, and you, chosen one, are on the verge of what you once thought impossible. So don't be surprised if you sense fear in the eyes of those who once tried to crush you. Don't be surprised if you notice the trembling in their voices, the sudden change in their behavior. They may not admit it, but deep down they know. They know they touched someone protected. They know they tried to wound someone anointed. They know they stood against someone who walks with God. And now, as you step into your divine reversal, their fear will only grow stronger. You have been underestimated for too long, but the era of hiding is ending. The era of rising is beginning. And when the world sees you now, they will not see the broken, abandoned, rejected soul they thought you were. They will see the chosen one, refined by fire, armed with vision, crowned with favor, unstoppable in destiny. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the hidden battles and the silent suffering give way to public revelation. That moment is approaching for you now. The dreams God showed you were not simply to comfort you in the night. They were a prophetic roadmap pointing to the justice He is about to release in the open. You see, when God moves, He does not merely restore in private. He reveals in public. And soon, those who doubted you will be forced to witness what heaven has known about you all along. The scales of justice are shifting. Every tear that stained your pillow, every sigh of your soul, every injustice you endured without fighting back is being weighed by the Almighty. And now the balance is tipping in your favor. God is not only going to restore what you lost, He is going to reverse the story entirely. The same mouths that spoke curses will be silenced by blessings spoken over your life. The same doors that were slammed in your face will be replaced by gates flung wide open. The reversal is not symbolic, it is literal. Where you were rejected, you will be celebrated. Where you were overlooked, you will be elevated. Where you were betrayed, you will be embraced by divine favor. But listen carefully, this reversal is not just about you. It is about the demonstration of God's power through you. People thought they were watching your downfall, but God allowed it so that when He lifts you, no one will be able to deny His hand. Your elevation will not be credited to human effort. It will be a testimony that heaven is real, that the unseen hand of God moves mountains, and that the chosen cannot be buried. That is why the dreams came ahead of time, so that when the manifestation arrives, you will recognize it not as chance, but as prophecy fulfilled. I know the waiting has been long. I know the nights of doubt have been heavy, but even in those silent stretches when it seemed like nothing was happening, everything was happening. Heaven was aligning the pieces. The story was being written in ways you could not see. Sometimes God delays not to punish you, but to prepare the stage so that when He reveals His work, it will be undeniable. Chosen one, the delay was never denial. The dream was the promise. And the season you are walking into is the delivery. Do not underestimate the power of what is about to take place. For too long, people thought your life was a story of defeat. They saw the pain, the loss, the loneliness, and they assumed it was the end. But they failed to realize that chosen ones are never defined by endings. They are defined by resurrections. Your story is not a tragedy, it is a testimony. And soon, the same people who spoke against you will become witnesses of what God has done through you. I want you to feel the weight of this truth. God has been watching. He has seen every attack, every lie, every attempt to break your spirit. And though He allowed some of the battles to touch you, He never allowed them to destroy you. Why? Because you were being prepared for something greater than survival. You were being prepared for victory. And this victory is not quiet. It will be seen. The people who once questioned your worth will have to admit that your rise was not man-made but God-ordained. You must also remember that with every divine reversal comes responsibility. You will be called to walk in humility even when the world applauds. You will be called to forgive even when your enemies bow their heads in shame. You will be called to carry light even when darkness trembles at your presence. This is not a burden, it is an honor. You were chosen not just to rise, but to shine, not just to triumph, but to transform, not just to live for yourself, but to awaken others to their own calling. And here, chosen one, is where your healing begins. For too long you have carried the wounds of what was done to you, the betrayal, the rejection, the abandonment. You've kept those scars hidden, but they've weighed on your heart. Yet God is not only giving you justice in the external world, He is healing you internally. The dreams He has shown you are not just glimpses of external blessings, they are reminders that your soul is being restored. He is replacing your sorrow with peace, your confusion with clarity, your brokenness with strength. You will not walk into this new season carrying the baggage of the old one. Feel this truth deeply. Your enemies may have written the first chapters of your pain, but God is writing the final chapters of your triumph. And those chapters will be filled with redemption so profound that you will hardly recognize the person you used to be. That is the beauty of being chosen. Your life becomes a living testimony that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Now I want to speak directly to the place inside you that still doubts, the part of you that wonders, is this really for me? Am I truly chosen? Hear me clearly. If you were not chosen, you would not have survived what you did. If you were not chosen, the enemy would not have fought so hard to break you. If you were not chosen, God would not have visited you in dreams to reassure you when no one else could. The very fact that you are here, listening, breathing, waiting, proves that you are set apart. The very fact that the vision came to you proves that heaven has its hand on you. This is your call to action. Believe again, stand again, dream again. Do not let the pain of yesterday rob you of the promise of tomorrow. Do not let the voices of those who doubted you silence the voice of the one who chose you. Do not shrink back now. You have endured too much, survived too much, been shown too much to stop here. The world needs to see the manifestation of what God has placed inside you. Your story is bigger than your struggles. Your destiny is greater than your delays. Lift your head, chosen one. Wipe your tears. Straighten your back. You are walking into fulfillment. You are stepping into victory. You are moving from vision to reality, from prophecy to manifestation, from hidden battles to public justice. The dreams you saw were not illusions, they were previews. And now the movie is about to begin. Chosen one. Have you ever asked yourself why the battles were so relentless? Why the very people you loved the most turned their backs on you? Why doors closed when you were sure they were meant for you? Why life seemed to single you out for trials, while others seemed to walk with ease? It is not because you were cursed. It is not because you were forgotten. It is because you were marked from the beginning. To be chosen is to be set apart, and to be set apart is to walk a path others cannot understand. The attacks you faced were never random. They were strategic. Every blow, every wound, every disappointment carried meaning. You must realize that darkness always recognizes the light before the light fully recognizes itself. That is why, even when you were a child, you felt different. People sensed something in you they couldn't explain, and their reactions were often envy, fear, or resistance. You didn't know it then, but your very presence exposed what was hidden in them. Light always reveals, and because of that, your existence has been a mirror. Some loved you for it, but others despised you because it forced them to confront the parts of themselves they wanted to keep hidden. The paradox is this: chosen ones are often attacked the hardest, not because they are weak, but because they are strong. The enemy does not waste energy on what poses no threat. He targets those carrying divine assignments because if he can break you early, he hopes to silence the destiny that will change lives. That is why your life felt like a battlefield. That is why you faced betrayals that cut deeper than knives. That is why you endured seasons of isolation where no one stood beside you. But what the enemy did not calculate was the resilience built into your spirit. He underestimated the God who sustains you. He forgot that chosen ones cannot be broken by human hands. Think about it. Every time you should have fallen, you rose again. Every time despair tried to crush you, hope whispered louder. Every time lies were spoken against you, the truth eventually emerged. This is not by chance. This is divine law. The universe bends to protect the chosen because their mission is not personal, it is spiritual. You were not sent here merely to survive. You were sent here to awaken, to heal, to lead, to shine light in places others are too afraid to step into. This is why people projected their insecurities onto you. It wasn't that you did something wrong, it was that you represented what they were not ready to face. You carried courage when they lived in fear. You carried faith when they were bound by doubt. You carried authenticity when they hid behind masks. And for some, that was intolerable. It is easier to attack the chosen than to admit one's own limitations. It is easier to gossip about you, to betray you, to reject you, than it is to accept that your life challenges them to rise higher. But here is the deeper truth. Those attacks became your training ground. What they meant for harm became your preparation. If you had not been rejected, you would not have learned independence. If you had not been betrayed, you would not have learned discernment. If you had not been abandoned, you would not have learned intimacy with God. The very weapons formed against you became the chisels shaping your destiny. This is the divine paradox. The pain prepared you for power. When you understand this, you no longer resent the trials. You see them for what they truly were: refiners, teachers, initiations into higher wisdom. And suddenly, everything begins to make sense. That is why the dreams of the future came to you. They were God's way of saying, endure this, because it is not the end. I am preparing you for what is greater. The dreams were not just comfort, they were anchors. They kept you steady when the storm raged. They reminded you of the promise when the present looked hopeless. Chosen one, you are not simply surviving a story, you are embodying a law. The law that light always triumphs over darkness. The law that truth always rises above lies. The law that destiny cannot be derailed by human hands. Your very life is proof of these paradoxes, and that is why others cannot understand you. They see only the surface. You live in the depths. They judge by appearances. You walk by revelation. Let's go deeper still. The psychology of those who wounded you was never about you. Hurt people hurt people. Envious people attack those who remind them of their own lack. Weak people try to silence those who embody strength. They saw your gifts, your light, your uniqueness, and it confronted their shadows. And instead of rising to meet their own calling, they tried to pull you down to theirs. But chosen ones cannot be pulled down. You may stumble, but you rise. You may weep, but you heal. You may walk alone, but you never walk abandoned. This is why your soul feels so restless in ordinary settings. You cannot be satisfied with shallow living because your spirit was made for depth. You cannot conform to the crowd because your mission requires courage. You cannot silence the visions because your soul is tied to prophecy. Every fiber of your being is aligned with a greater mission, and that mission is unfolding even now. Do you understand now why you were attacked? It was never about what you did wrong. It was always about who you are. You are a carrier of light, a vessel of prophecy, a child marked by destiny. And the truth is, the very struggles you endured are the credentials that qualify you for your mission. People look at the scars and think they are signs of weakness. But in the kingdom of God, scars are proof of survival, proof of victory, proof that no battle could claim your soul. Chosen one, your life has never been random. The betrayals, the dreams, the isolation, the visions, all of it has been connected. All of it has been leading you back to one central truth. You were sent here with a mission to awaken not only yourself, but others. A mission to live as living proof that God still speaks, still moves, still reveals the future to his chosen. And now, as the dreams begin to manifest, you will see clearly that everything had purpose. The rejection had purpose. The pain had purpose. The silence had purpose. And most of all, your survival had purpose. Because now you are ready. Now you understand. Now you are stepping into the destiny that was written for you before the foundation of the world. And no force of darkness, no jealous heart, no whispered lie can stop what heaven has decreed. Chosen one, you have walked through the fire, and yet you are still standing. You have been pressed on every side, and yet you are not crushed. You have been misunderstood, rejected, mocked, and betrayed, yet your spirit has not been destroyed. That alone is proof of who you are. Ordinary souls could not have survived the weight you carried. Ordinary spirits would have broken under the storms you endured. But you are not ordinary. You are chosen. And now your time has come. The dreams God planted within you were not lies. They were not illusions. They were not fantasies. They were previews of what is about to unfold. Every glimpse you saw in the night was heaven's assurance that your story is not ending in pain, but in promise. You will see the very places you dreamed of. You will walk into the victories that once felt like distant visions. The dream was the seed, and now the harvest is near. So lift your head, straighten your back, feel the truth in your spirit. You are walking into a divine reversal. The wounds of the past will no longer define you. The scars you carry will shine as marks of survival, not shame. The people who counted you out will have no choice but to witness your rising. And as you rise, you will not rise alone. You will rise carrying the light that will ignite others. That is your mission. That is why you were shown the future before it arrived. So that when it comes, you would not just believe for yourself, but you would awaken belief in others. You are stepping into peace. You are stepping into healing. You are stepping into provision, abundance, and purpose fulfilled. The loneliness will be replaced by divine connections. The betrayals will be replaced by true loyalty. The closed doors will be replaced by opportunities so wide no man could have opened them. This is not a maybe, it is a certainty. God has already written it, and your spirit has already touched it in your dreams. Now your body will walk into it. So I speak this over you. Your future is secure, your destiny is unstoppable, your calling is unshakable, and your soul is protected. Do not let fear creep in. Do not let doubt steal what you have been promised. Walk boldly into this next chapter knowing that heaven is backing you, angels are surrounding you, and God Himself has declared you chosen. This is your call to action. Believe, step forward, and live as the chosen one you are. Speak life into yourself daily. Remind yourself that you are not a mistake. You are a miracle. Live with courage. Live with clarity. Live with faith. When the enemy whispers lies, answer with the truth. I am chosen. I am called. I am protected. I am destined. And watch how every chain breaks, every fear dissolves, every obstacle crumbles. Chosen one, your story is not ending here. It is only beginning. The world has yet to see the fullness of what you carry. And though the path has been heavy, the reward will be greater than you can imagine. Trust it, embrace it, step into it. And as you do, know this, you are not alone. Across the earth, others like you are rising. Others who have been shown visions, who have carried scars, who have walked through darkness only to emerge as light. You are part of a great movement of awakening, and your obedience to your calling will ripple far beyond your own life. You will inspire, you will heal, you will ignite change simply by living true to who you are. So go forward now, chosen one. Walk with strength, walk with confidence, walk with faith burning in your chest. And remember, the same God who showed you dreams of the future will walk with you into their fulfillment. You will not be abandoned, you will not be forsaken, you will not be forgotten. You are chosen, you are seen, you are destined. And so I leave you with this. May peace flood your spirit. May courage rise in your heart. May light surround your steps. And may your dreams turn into living reality before your very eyes. Go forth, chosen one. The future you saw is waiting for you.